training ground for displacement and genocide. It was built on Lenape land, built upon the tribe and water community. It continues to fight and it was built upon ethnic conflict and possibility. Push down Market Street, every green space on campus is fenced off. Thousands of dollars have been spent on this. Remembered. Do you want to be looked back on by future generations as Einstein or Oppenheimer, where you cannot be both? Know this.
Tequila, Shavarim Trua, Tequila, Shavarim Trua. your eyes. And Senator Fetterman, open your ears. Tekiya, Tekiya, Shavarim Trua, Tekiya, Tekiya, Shavarim Trua, Tekiya. Senator Fetterman, open your eyes. And Senator Fetterman, open your ears. Shavari, Tekiya. And Senator Fetterman, open your heart.
They ask, why, when we fasted, did you not see us? When we starved our bodies, you paid no heed. Because on your fast day, you're thinking about your business. You're oppressing your workers. Your fast is marred with ego and argument. You strike with a wicked fist. Your fasting today will not make your voice heard on high. Is this the fast I want? A day for people to starve their bodies? Do I want you to bow your heads like the reeds, to mortify your bodies with coarse cloth and ashes? You call that a fast, a day when Adonai would look upon you with favor?
No, this is the fast that I want. Unlock the chains of wickedness. Untie the knots of servitude and let the oppressed go free, their bonds broken. Share your bread with the hungry and welcome the homeless into your home. And when you see the naked, clothe them. All people are your kin, do not ignore them. Then will you shine like the dawn and healing will rise up. Your righteousness will vindicate you. The presence of God will guard your safety. Then when you call out, Adonai will answer. And when you cry out, God will say, here I am. If you banish oppression, scornful finger pointing and hateful speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and sustenance to the famished, then your light will shine in the darkness. Your gloom will disappear like fog at noon. Adonai will guide you. God will slake your thirst when you are parched. God will give you strength deep in your bones, and you will be like a watered garden, an unfailing spring. You will rebuild and restore foundations. You will be known as one who restores what is fallen. Isaiah.
That section of Isaiah will be read in Jewish congregations worldwide on Yom Kippur morning. Tekiya. One more time. Tekiya. Teruah. Tekiya. Tekiya. Teruah. Tekiya. Tekiya. Teruah. Tekiya. Senator Fetterman, turn toward justice. We call on you to have open eyes, open ears, and an open heart. To see others as you see yourself. To see Palestinians as you see Israelis. Turn your path toward justice, toward peace. Tekiya Gedolah.
My name is Joe Lombardo. I am the coordinator of UNAC, the United National Anti-War Coalition, which is a coalition in the United States of anti-war and social justice groups. We can be found at unacpeace.org is our website, and from there you can have links to our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Telegram and other social media platforms that we're on. I urge you to take a look at the website, and the video of this webinar will be posted there tomorrow. Additionally, if you've registered, and everybody who's on here has registered, you will get a message from Zoom 24 hours after the webinar is over, and you will, in that webinar, in that video, in that email, you will see a link to the video of the webinar. And I urge you to share that, to log on again if you would like to, but share it with your contacts and on social media and so forth, so others can also see the webinar. The webinar is also co-sponsored by the International Action Center, the Friends of Socialist China, and the China-US Solidarity Network. So we're all doing this collaboratively. Tonight, you're going to see the webinar with two people from the United States who just returned from a trip to China, and two people who are presently in China, and they'll all be speaking about the situation there. As you know, even as the Ukraine war is raging, the U.S. Provocations against China have been increasing, leading towards what many think is the direction of war with China, which would be disastrous for the entire world. Part of the buildup to this war and part of these provocations are a lot of propaganda that you're seeing daily in the United States. Things about a Chinese police station in Chinatown in New York, which is something very different than what the US media projects it. There's been stories on the US news media of drug runners from China in the United States. We heard about this plane, reconnaissance plane, that was going along the border with China, and China sent a jet up to shadow it. The reconnaissance plane was not the provocation, but the shadowing was the provocation. Could you imagine if China sent a reconnaissance plane along the US border, what we would do? A similar thing with a ship that was in the Taiwan Strait, which is a Chinese water, that's not international water. And a Chinese ship also shadowed that, and that was considered a provocation. And we hear more and more every day about repression by the Chinese government of Chinese people. However, a recent statistical study was done of the 28 largest countries in the world and what the people in those countries, how they trust their government. The one that came out on top was China, with 89% of the population saying they trusted the government. The United States was 20th in that out of the 28, with only about 40% of the population saying they trust the government. And so the reality that the US is trying to project is really standing reality on its head. And we know that all of this is in the context of the US losing its hegemony in the world, economically, politically, and militarily. And in that, it's being challenged by countries coming together in a different kind of alliance than the US and the World Bank and the IMF have tried to impose upon the world. And China is a leading force in that alliance. And we can be sure that that is the major reason for these provocations, these move towards war, and the increased propaganda that we are hearing. So as all people should do when you hear propaganda towards a country. It's good to find out for yourself what's happening there. Taking trips is one way. And today we have some people who are in China and two that have recently returned. So we're going to start with one of the people who came back from China just recently, who's R.J. Redman, who's a union organizer from Buffalo, New York, and he helped organize the first Starbucks store that went union, and that's where he works now. First one that went union in the U.S. R.J. is also a project coordinator for International Action Center and a writer for the Workers' World newspaper. So I'm going to hand it over to R.J. now. Let me just mention, if you have questions, please put them in the question and answer area, which you could see with a little icon on the bottom of your screen, not in the chat, because chat will just roll up. And it's also important that as people speak, that you listen to them, be courteous and listen, and not have side conversations in the chat. So put questions and answers in the Q&A area. And we're going to turn it over to RJ now. You're up, RJ.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. And I just want to say it's such a great opportunity to be able to come on here and share our experience from our recent delegation to the People's Republic of China. And I really wish that more people in the U.S. especially had an opportunity to really experience and see what we saw. And so hopefully we can do our best to bring that information to you. I think, first of all, I want to mention the fact, like Joe said, I was one of the Starbucks organizers here in Buffalo that formed the first Starbucks union. I want to mention that today because I got my shirt on because this morning up at 7 a.m. we were up at the picket because we've got 150 stores on strike for Pride. And so that's what I was doing all day pretty much before I came up here. And the reason that I want to say that is because workers in the U.S., whether you're a barista, whether you're in building trades, service work, whatever it is, gig work, know very well what it's like to live in a country where you are on a leash, okay? And to be able to go to China and see, even with all the development and everything that's going on, a dynamic where the corporations are actually on the leash, on a tight leash in China. In the US, the corporations hold the leash and we're on the leash. Okay, so what I want to focus my talk on today is, being that this was my first experience being in the People's Republic of China, some of the differences that I saw as a worker, as an organizer, between where I live and where I got to stay for a couple of weeks. And we did, China is an enormous country. There's a lot to see. You'll never see it all. Even if you live there, I'm sure you won't see it all. But even what we got to see, I feel like it was an unforgettable experience. So just to get started on that, I think COVID, the way that they handled the COVID policies, is a testament to the fact that corporations are kept on a leash and that the policies that are carried out in China do not take profit as the end all be all. Of course, profit is something that's taken into consideration, but it's not the most important thing. And we saw that public safety and health is moving and when it's stopping, because it's such a smooth ride. I've never seen a train like that. These are small points. I mean, they might seem obvious, but it really is something that struck me. And something that I really want to talk about is the conditions for the workers and the conversations that we had when we were in China, especially when we were in the west side of the country in Xinjiang. We got to speak to many Uyghur families, some Kazakh families, and other families, Han families, and other ethnic minorities and other groups that were sharing their family history and the kind of things that they go through. And we got to compare, you know, what we go through. And one thing that I remember, we met a family of Kazakh farmers. They owned a small shop, and they were actually, you know, their grandparents had been nomadic farmers. This was in a very rural part of Xinjiang. And they, you know, now they own a business, and they were set up with the ability to kind of expand the type of setting that they're doing. And this was done and made possible by the educational opportunities. The government came in, and they have a policy of making sure that the regions that are less developed economically have a higher ability of getting into these more technically trained jobs.